With Dark Phoenix coming out here in a few weeks or so, I'm going to be continuing the X-Men reviews with X-Men First Class. But before we get started in my review, here's a little message. Before I go on, don't forget to smash that like button, smash that share button, and if you're new here, smash that subscribe button so you can watch more reviews like this one, and give a little tap to the gray bell icon for notifications on my latest uploads. Back to the review. X-Men First Class is basically the origin story for, characters like Charles Xavier, Mystique, and Magneto. And this shows the friendship between Eric and Charles, but at the same time, it also shows how they eventually became enemies. Now, for the most part, I wasn't the biggest fan of the X-Men movies. I didn't like the first two. I thought The Last Stand was decent, and I really didn't like X-Men Origins Wolverine. But when I finally saw X-Men First Class, I was blown away. X-Men First Class was fantastic. This, for me, was the first great X-Men movie for a few reasons. I mean, yeah, it has some really great special effects and some really cool action sequences, but what this movie succeeds at more than any of the X-Men movies up to that point is character. The characters are so well fleshed out. The characters are so identifiable. Charles Xavier was not a perfect character. He made mistakes. He would sometimes get drunk. He'd like to party and whatnot. But you could tell he was still extremely smart. Even Mystique, a character who was never really given any depth in the previous two X-Men movies, actually has a lot of depth in this film where she's played by Jennifer Lawrence. Now, a lot of people have criticized Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. I think she's good. I mean, is it Oscar-worthy? No, but really the material she's given isn't supposed to be Oscar-worthy. I mean, she just plays her part well, and yeah, she plays her part well. But let's talk about the character that makes this movie great. Magneto, played by, at the time, newcomer Michael Fassbender. Holy shit! This guy is terrifying. Magneto was pretty cool in the previous X-Men movies when he was played by Ian McKellen, but oh my god, this takes the character to completely new levels in X-Men First Class. You know that he struggles to be good, and, Charles Xavier tries to convince him that way, and sometimes it works. And it's just so refreshing to see this villain just so human. I think outside of the villains in the Nolan Batman movies, I feel like Magneto, played by Michael Fassbender, challenges Thanos, played by Josh Brolin, as the best comic book superhero villain. And plus, we get to see a lot of really new mutants this time around, and they're actually really cool, and the visual effects are really able to bring these characters to life. Hell, there's even this character named Sebastian Shaw, played by Kevin Bacon, and he's a really cool villain. He's kind of charismatic, and he has a really scary power where he can absorb any kind of energy someone throws at him, and just with one tap of a finger can completely destroy somebody with that power. And my favorite scene in the entire film, and probably one of the best scenes in any X-Men movie, is this one right here where Magneto is trying to move a satellite, and he's trying to use the negative emotions he has over Sebastian Shaw, over what he did to his mother, but he can't do it, and so Charles Xavier does this.
Would you mind if I...
What did you just do to me?
I accessed the brightest corner of your memory system. It's a very beautiful memory, Eric. Thank you.
I didn't know I still had that.
That scene is beautiful. It's so good, and it completely lets you know where Magneto is coming from. And also, I'm just gonna add this as a little tidbit. Guess who plays William Stryker Sr.? Like, the father of William Stryker, who would eventually, you know, create Wolverine. No joke. That's the same actor who played Mr. Sweeney from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Yeah, I think his name is Don Creech. And when I realized that, I was like, oh my god, that's Mr. Sweeney. Like, that was so cool. Like, that, I don't know why. That was just a really, really cool thing to learn about X-Men First Class. This film isn't flawless. Like, for example, they sometimes break canon a bit. Like, it's not really a spoiler, because we know where Charles Xavier ends up. Basically, in this movie, we find out how Charles Xavier doesn't have the feeling in his legs and has to be in a wheelchair. Which is weird, because in X-Men The Last Stand, he's walking perfectly fine. But at the end of this movie, we see how, you know, he lost the feeling of his legs. And, man, they probably should have looked into that a little bit further. But other than a few little nitpicks like that, X-Men First Class is a great comic book film, and for me, the first great X-Men movie. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. This is a film that really succeeds in terms of character, and some of the best character development we've ever seen in the X-Men franchise. So, have you seen X-Men First Class? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like, share the video so we can get the channel circulated. Don't forget to support my Patreon on my Patreon page. And if you can't do that, then consider supporting me through my PayPal donation button in the description below. And if you want to see more, click this.